People often find it difficult to control INFJs because of the unique blend of depth, insight, independence, and quiet determination that defines their personality. Their resistance to control is not loud or confrontational. Rather, it's subtle, rooted in an unwavering internal compass and a profound sense of purpose. At the heart of this resistance lies the INFJ's dominant function, introverted intuition. Introverted intuition is focused inward, drawing patterns and meaning from beneath the surface of things. INFJs tend to see through people and situations with startling accuracy, often perceiving underlying motives that even the people involved aren't consciously aware of. This intuition gives them a strategic advantage. They are not easily manipulated because they can intuitively sense when something is off or when someone is trying to steer them in a direction that doesn't align with their values. It's not just that they suspect, it's that they know. This insight makes it difficult for others to deceive or control them without being detected. INFJs are guided by deeply held values that originate from their auxiliary function, extrovert feeling. While extrovert feeling gives them a strong ability to empathize, understand others, and build connections, it also roots them in a moral framework that they're rarely willing to betray. If someone tries to pressure an INFJ into acting against their ethical beliefs or their long-term vision, the INFJ will quietly but firmly resist. They are willing to compromise on logistics, but not on principle. This makes external control ineffective unless it aligns with their internal convictions. Another reason INFJs can't be controlled is their long-term perspective. INFJs are visionary. They tend to think years ahead and are not easily distracted by short-term pressures or emotional manipulation. This foresight helps them remain steadfast in the face of social or emotional coercion. They can be extraordinarily patient, waiting out people or systems that try to box them in, always with an eye on a broader, more meaningful outcome. Their idealism, rather than being naive, is often grounded in realistic planning and a sophisticated understanding of human nature. Despite their calm demeanor, INFJs are very independent. They do not advertise their independence loudly, but they guard it fiercely. When they feel someone is trying to control their decisions, manipulate their time, or suppress their voice, they are more likely to withdraw and disappear than confront directly. This retreat is not weakness, but a protective mechanism. INFJs detach when they sense their inner autonomy is threatened, and once they leave emotionally or mentally, it's extremely difficult to pull them back. Their boundaries may be invisible, but they are non-negotiable. INFJs often appear pliable or agreeable at first glance, which misleads those who think they can be easily led. Because they care deeply about harmony and others' feelings, they may initially go along with suggestions or plans to avoid conflict. However, if the INFJ senses a violation of their values or personal direction, the facade of agreement will vanish. This quiet, delayed pushback can catch would-be controllers off guard, as the INFJ will suddenly assert themselves with clarity and finality, often with words that cut to the heart of the matter. Their words have weight, sharpened by reflection and driven by inner certainty. Their emotional intelligence also plays a vital role in their resistance to control. INFJs are deeply aware of emotional undercurrents and social dynamics. They understand manipulation tactics, emotional leverage, and guilt-tripping techniques, often better than those attempting to use them. While they may absorb others' emotions to a degree that can be overwhelming, they are also capable of detaching when necessary to protect themselves. Their emotional literacy allows them to step back and evaluate relationships or dynamics critically, making them difficult to ensnare in toxic or controlling systems. INFJs are often on a mission. Whether that mission is personal growth, healing others, social change, or creative expression, it gives them an internal direction that external forces cannot override. Their lives are not ruled by others' expectations or social trends, but by their own vision of meaning and purpose. Attempts to control them often fail, because INFJs are not motivated by the usual levers of power, money, or approval. They are seekers of truth and authenticity, and any influence that does not support that journey will be silently, but completely, rejected. INFJs are not only self-directed, but they are also layered, enigmatic individuals who rarely show all their cards. This hidden depth adds a layer of unpredictability that confounds attempts to manage or control them. You might think you understand them, but by the time you believe you figure them out, they've already moved on emotionally, intellectually, or spiritually. That mystery isn't accidental. It's an intentional form of self-protection, born out of years of feeling misunderstood or used by those who failed to see or respect their inner world. INFJs are paradoxical by nature. They're warm and empathetic, yet guarded and private. They give generously of their emotional energy, but few truly earn a place in their inner world. This contradiction itself is a shield against control. A person may feel close to an INFJ, may believe they're influencing them, but what they don't realize is that the INFJ is carefully choosing what they reveal. This ability to control how much of themselves they share gives them the upper hand in nearly every dynamic. They are rarely fully exposed, and therefore rarely vulnerable to manipulation. One of the most underestimated qualities of an INFJ is their capacity for silent endurance. People often mistake their calmness and gentle demeanor for passivity, but in truth, INFJs can endure a great deal without visibly reacting. This gives the illusion that someone might be winning or influencing them, but INFJs are internal processors. They observe everything. They remember. They analyze. And once a person has crossed a line too many times, the INFJ will withdraw, not with anger, but with finality. The INFJ door slam is not impulsive. It is the result of prolonged observation and reflection. Once that internal judgment is made, there is no convincing them to return. They also have a strong internal sense of identity. Despite being naturally empathetic and attuned to others' emotions, INFJs don't rely on external validation to define themselves. They are idealists, but not in the sense of needing others to confirm their worldview. Their ideals are formed through introspection, study, and personal experience. This means that attempts to control them through peer pressure, status, or groupthink fall flat. They're not followers. They may play along for a time to maintain peace or study a situation, but when it matters, they break away and walk their own path, often alone, if necessary. INFJs also possess a subtle but powerful kind of confidence. It's not boastful or externally focused. It's internal, spiritual even. They believe in their vision of what is right, meaningful, or important, and they don't need others to agree with it in order for it to be valid. This confidence unnerves people who are used to controlling through intimidation, manipulation, or loud dominance. The INFJ doesn't meet control with defiance. They simply disengage. They remove their emotional investment. They stop showing up. They disappear energetically and often physically. This silent refusal to be controlled often speaks louder than rebellion. Their introversion plays a huge role here, too. INFJs are comfortable spending long periods alone, in solitude or reflection. They do not fear disconnection or isolation the way some other types might. In fact, they often crave it as a means to recharge and remain true to themselves. That self-sufficiency is another reason why they can't be easily controlled. They do not depend heavily on others for their sense of self, their direction, or even their emotional stability. You can't control someone who doesn't fear being alone with their thoughts. They also have an uncanny emotional insight. INFJs tend to see patterns in emotional behavior, and over time, they develop a kind of emotional fluency that borders on psychic. They can detect manipulation masked as affection, authority disguised as concern, or flattery used as a weapon. This emotional clarity makes it difficult for anyone to maintain power over them for long. They may not react immediately, but they'll quietly begin adjusting their boundaries or distancing themselves long before the manipulator realizes they've lost their grip. INFJs also carry a quiet strength that often goes unnoticed until it's tested. When pushed to their limits, they may appear calm on the surface, but inside, their resolve hardens. This strength doesn't erupt explosively. It emerges in their refusal to compromise who they are. They can walk away from relationships, jobs, or entire communities if it means preserving their integrity. Their loyalty has limits, and once crossed, they will not look back. INFJs are often guided by a deep, almost sacred sense of calling. Many INFJs feel that their life has a specific purpose, something larger than themselves that they must honor. This can take many forms: art, writing, healing, activism, spirituality, education. That sense of mission makes them impervious to shallow influences. You can't control someone whose allegiance lies not with you, but with something eternal, something transcendent. That calling gives them a form of spiritual armor, making them immune to manipulation rooted in ego, fear, or power. To try to control an INFJ is to misunderstand the essence of who they are. You cannot control them because they do not need you in the way you expect. Their soul answers to something far deeper than external power, and that, ultimately, is what makes them free.